Hello everyone and welcome to your Tuesday lighting critique. I wanted to start off by taking a look at Eugene's fantastically lit animation here. I think everything is looking really wonderful. I think you've really done a brilliant job. Again, depth of field blur looks great. The cool tone of the background over the warm tone character looks great. Her shaping, fantastic. Shaping on the hair, specularity on the skin. Look at the specularity on her necklace and her garments. All really good stuff. Getting good lighting on the scene without being too distracting is really nice. You've just got good shaping all around and just like a lot of cool stuff with this light kind of slashing through this way. There are two things that I want to look at today that I think that might be able to be improved upon. Number one, as she steps into the scene here, it almost looks like she's out of focus, and it could be motion blur, but like as she steps in, like she feels blurry to me. If there's any way to tighten her up out of the gate, like that would be great. And it might if it is out of focus, like if you go back and you take off the depth of field and you see that it's just like she's a little bit too close to the foreground, you may have to animate those values where she's a little more in focus for the first few frames, and then the camera tracks with her and the focus pulls with her. The other one is probably a comp issue, but I want you to just pay attention to like up here in the corner of the frame. Just watch up here the whole time. You see how like these are kind of flickering on and off, and then if you look up here, it almost looks like there's like cars driving back and forth. This is something that is known. Well, I think of it as like, I call it. It's like maintaining the border, maintaining the edge integrity of the shot. So basically, what's happening is maybe like some, you've got this out of focus and it's kind of blurring it by a few pixels, and all of a sudden like some brighter pixels start to creep in on the frame before and frame after, and it just kind of like it picks up the brighter pixels as the camera's moving around. So what I would try and go in there and just try and you can either, this isn't the best, but you can like clamp down the brightest pixels. You can also like I've also done it where I've pushed in a couple of frames on the background so that you don't get that edge. Some renders actually allow you to over render by a couple of pixels as well to help eliminate that, but just investigate that edge and figure out what's going on. My guess is it's a comp thing and it has to do with the depth of field, but just take a look at that. And other than that, it's beautiful. Like it's really well done. So great job there. All right, let's hop over into some of the other ones. You guys just saw a sneak peek of me making the thumbnail for this. So let's go through these. Okay, so let's talk about Cleber first. This is your new update. This is a little bit further back. And then this is the older version here. So you've got more light wrapping around on her face. Is looking really well. Let me think. So I think that you've done a good job of balancing stuff. This little bit of fur is getting a little bit clipped, a little bit too bright. It's just a touch. So I would roll that back a little bit, but I think the overall value is looking pretty good. If you can generate some more, and it might be a matter of increasing the radius again, but like getting just a little bit more fall off or a little bit more variation in the value of the light going from left to right. And this could be also, what this could be is one of the things that we've talked about in the past, which is doing a key light, which is a little bit more rimmed up on the character, and then a key fill, which hits the character a little bit more broadly, and using that to roll off in this very round shape. And what that'll do is it'll allow you to get a little bit of this brightness around the edge because it looks pretty nice around here. It's just like in this area it gets a little blown out, and then creating a larger radius light to create that roll off. And again, so a slightly smaller radius light that does specularity right here on the edge, and then the key fill is more frontal, larger, little to no specularity, and just kind of creates that ramp off. I would watch out for the amount of yellow that's in the light here because it's causing, it might just be a combination of what's going on with the scarf, but like it feels a little bit too saturated yellow in there. And then if we can get some more key hits on the arm here, that would be really great. Because what's getting illuminated by the sun doesn't quite look that bright on this grayish fur. I think that's looking good. One thing that was of concern to me was this kind of moire patterning in the pants. So just watch out for that. That can be really problematic if you're rendering animation, because she starts to, if like at this depth, if she starts to move around, and really what that is like a pattern kind of like falling below a pixel, the pixel resolution, and then it just kind of interpolates that into this weird patterning thing. So just watch out for that. And then I wanted to, in terms of your render layers, these are all looking cool. I think that we can, and looking at this, I think you can go a little bit more pronounced with the shadow. I think the shadow being cast out this way can go a little bit stronger. And let's go through the rest of these. But yeah, love that. That looks great. You're able, like, that'll really help you control some of those areas. I think that is a big help. Actually, let's look at some of these. Yeah, I think you can get more shaping out of that one. Like, it feels very frontal. Yeah, this looks good. This could be like the key light here that's just kind of hitting along that edge. And then what you do is you'd have the broader one that would kind of fill it in a little more, a little bit more like that. Maybe even a little more frontal than that, but and then just push up that intensity in that layer. This looks cool. Watch out for this one, because if you think about anything in the, because it does, it's the fur might get too dark with something like this, because this is like really, really dark. So you may just have to sprinkle that in a little bit, because if you think about like this would, yeah, it's just calculating too strongly in the fur areas. So just watch out for that. But big improvement. This looks really good. All right, Diana, you are up next. Love the progress. I think that adding this brightness certainly helps. I was looking at this, and it might be difficult to get, but I'm wondering if we can't put a little bit of like a warm rim from this light on this character to help separate it out from the background a little bit. I wonder if that would help. And then maybe just like, I don't know, try it out, like a slight greenish rim. Just like a little bit of rim light to kind of define the silhouette of the character, and that would really help him stand out from the background. Additionally, it looks like, you know, if there's light coming out of this TV, I would want to see, let's see the close up here too. Yeah, I would want to see a couple of things. Number one, maybe just like a little bit of a haze around that TV to kind of sell that. Like it's this green light here that I think is coming from the television. And then I would want to see some of the effects of the television on this table, like this area of the table to get brighter, and then maybe a little bit of a roll off across the table. And then additionally, you'd want to see like the reflection of the television in their eyes. I think that would be pretty cool too. And yeah, because it looks like that looks like a shadow from the TV, because it seems like it's coming from this way, but just, yeah, I think that's pretty good. This is cute. The Monsters University is really nice. I just noticed that there. This is actually really nice over here too, just like that little bit of specularity, that little bit of shaping on the leaves of those plants. And then, yeah. You might be able to get a little more saturation out of her skin too. I'm wondering if, because like playing up the warmer light to create a little warmth in the skin tone could help out a lot there too. But I think that might help a lot. Yeah, so just more prominent on this light, and then try a little bit of rim light on there. But good progress. This is looking good. All right, Kat, we've got your reference here, and I pulled up this one because I really like this, because I wanted to kind of break it down for a second and be like, okay, so what is telling us that this is morning, right? We've got a low sun. You know, it's soft. There's a lot of haze in the environment. There's this what we call a wash of light over the image, you know, in that the sun is shining towards us and hitting the lens and kind of causing this washing effect You know, we've got the aerial perspective. We've got some darker values here, lighter ones here, falling off in the distance there. Kind of a glowy, bright sky because we're exposed for the characters in the foreground, and then the sky will get a little bit brighter. Here we're not seeing the sky so much, but we are feeling the effects of this stuff. Now, in terms of the color, this is a very reddish orange. Over here, it feels almost like a yellowy kind of a green color, in that I really think that we can push a lot more reds into this. For one, like just get a little bit more of those oranges in there. And then additionally, I think we can push the contrast there in some of the environments. This is looking a little bit too saturated in a lot of this stuff. It's interesting because I think there's just a lot of let's go back to this. Like, do you see how? Let me pull off my color corrections. Let's go back to the original. Okay, so there's kind of a universal haze over top of all of this, and I'm looking in like the dark values. You know, they've all kind of got a lifted component to them. Where in here, that lifted value is much more variable based on the location, right? So like on this left side, you see like a lot of it. Over here on the right side, you don't see as much influence. Further back, you see more of it. Further in the foreground, you don't see as much of it. Where here, it's kind of just happening uniformly across, and we need to start isolating them into certain pockets. So that would be number one. Number two is I'm concerned that there's too many... Like, I think there might be too many lights going on right now. And I really want to take a second while we still have time before the end of the month, and because we're still early, and just kind of analyze these one at a time. The first thing is the key light, which appears to be shining pretty directly at the character, right? It's like behind the camera, and it's shining like straight up this way. Rarely do we want to position the key light that way, just because you can see it's flattening her out in a way that there's not a lot of variation between her screen left and screen right side. And the other thing is that if you're looking at the shadow quality, like these shadows are very sharp, where if you're looking here, you're not really seeing like highly defined shadows. There's little ones, you know, it's like a little bit in here, but it's pretty soft. It's pretty hazy. So what I would like to see you do for this next iteration, take off the haze for now, and I really want to focus on getting this key light right, because I don't feel like it's there yet. I feel like there's a lot of improving that can happen, and I would encourage you to increase the radius to make for a softer shadow, and kick it over to one side or another, and play around with it. See what works out well, because one of the things that you have a structural setup to do is that if you have light coming in, let's say you've decided that light, it'll look better with the light coming in from the screen left side, right? So now you have the sun coming down this way. It'll hit the character's face here, create more shaping across this way. That will also maybe, like, because some of this stuff is like she's sitting at the outermost point of an interior space, you know, this area back here will then fall into shadow back behind her, and it'll allow her structurally to stand out as being a light character over dark. Then that may also allow for more shaping in these foreground plants, because they're doing a good job of framing, but they're like the saturated green colors and brightness is really kind of popping out to us, and just create some more shaping in there. And then also, well, one thing you want to watch out for here is there looks to be, like, I can see a seam edge from a texture, so just watch out for that. And same thing over here. So you may just want to rotate those around so that, you know, they're facing away from camera, and that'll create like more shaping on this stuff too. So I would try that for the next iteration. Turn off the haze, turn off the other lights. Let's just focus in on key light and get that one right, and then we can go from there. Because once, like, if you have a key light and basically if you have a good key light and a good fill value, that's like 80% of the battle, and you're well on your way there. All right, Nigel, your update versus the previous version. You added some more blue saturation into the water, which I think really helps out a lot. I think it's a little bit too strong because I like that. I feel like we've lost some of the variation in that region. And so I would just pull back on it, just basically near the top of the water. I'm fine with it down here. I think this color is actually really pretty. But up here towards the top, I would kind of fade off that saturation up there. Character's color looks a lot better. The one thing I would want is to pull some of this dark purple bruised areas around the eyes and pull that back just a little bit. And make it a little bit more the hero color. I think it's fine that they're there, and I think it's great that there's some variation there. I would just pull that back just a touch, and then everything else looks pretty good. I would call the rest of it done, but really, really good job there. And last up we have Yang. So great question about whether or not she's getting too dark and blending in with the environment. I think she might be. I think we can push some more bounce light up on her. Let's try filling her in with some more bounce light coming up into this region. I think you could also potentially rotate her a little bit towards camera if you wanted. Like, just because I think that the positioning is actually working pretty well, because you've got these stairs leading down here. You've got like some of the stuff leading into her. I think that you can rotate her a little more forward. Then you get some more fill light on here. And then I think that these sunflowers are looking really nicely shaped, and I think they're looking really pretty. Trying to think, how would I do this? Sunflowers are nicely shaped. These are a little bit dark. I would make those a little bit brighter. These are getting a little bit saturated in here and could use a little bit more shaping. And then these could use a little more value as well. But this is getting close. This is looking really nice. I love what's happening back in here in the alley set. You might want to plug in something back here between these buildings, because it just kind of looks like we escape into nothingness back there. But the rest of this is looking really, really soft and really nice. Yeah, and I like this level of bounce light. That looks really pretty. But yeah, I think that would be my next iteration for you there. So great job again, everybody. These are beautiful, beautiful works. We're coming a long way, and I look forward to seeing what you guys have tomorrow. All right, happy lighting, everybody.